Hey, good morning. It's Jen here. Happy Monday for another episode of Moving Forward with Hope, Happiness, and Heart. Today, I'm going to talk about, I'm actually on a little bit early because we're getting ready to head out. I'm still on my trip visiting with my great nephew. He's 3. and he inspired today's topic. So, a 3-year-old, of course, is focused on having the world centered around him. You know, he's still kind of in that phase and just learning about other people and what they want and what they need. So he says I want a lot, and he says, he says it a lot repetitively and kind of keeps asking for the same thing. You know, he's pretty strong-willed, which is a good thing in the right circumstances, of course. Anyway, so this morning he had one of the drawers with his clothes in it, and Grandma, my mom's on this trip too. So he's my great nephew, if I didn't mention that. Anyway, so my mom had a pair of her pants in the same drawer with his, and of course a 3-year-old doesn't know about folding and keeping things organized. Well, he pulled her pants out, and he said, he just threw them on the floor because he was like, these aren't mine. I don't want these here. And yeah, so it was just kind of funny. So it inspired me to talk with him. Well, when she said, well, I need to put him in here and put him back, and he got mad. He gets a little pouty. He folds his arms and puts his head in his arms, and hopefully his mom doesn't watch this and get upset with him. So he, of course he's 3, so it's kind of cute, but it's also like, okay, don't be mad. So the fact that I'm always talking about happiness, I considered this a teaching moment with him. So I said, hey, come here. Let me talk to you for something, and I'll tell you how to be happier. And he came over, still a little pouty. And I said that, you can focus on what you want, and you think that's what's going to make you happy. But if you think about what other people want too, then it even makes you happier. And of course, I'm saying this in many different ways because I'm talking to a 3-year-old, and I know it's not quite landing, but I think if I keep repeating things like that, then he'll start to understand. And he kind of was like, oh, okay, maybe I know sort of what you're talking about. Of course, repetition is the key there, but it just inspired me to, first of all, if you have, I don't know when the last time you've been around a 3-year-old is, but I'm good with it. He's definitely a little bit of a handful, but he's really a good kid, and it's amazing the few little toys that can entertain him for so long. But if you have kids in your world, look for opportunities like that to kind of change the way that they're looking at things. And if you can find a way to be kind and talk to them in a way where they get it and it's beneficial. I mean, maybe they don't get it, but the more you do it, I have a tendency to talk to kids a little more like they're adults and that they can understand a lot more than they seem to, because I think that when you do that consistently, they actually do understand more. And I think it's important to instill these kind of values when people are younger, because then they can just kind of have that ingrained as they're growing up, and they don't have to relearn it like some of us have, where we grew up maybe with just, spankings or, being grounded or timeouts or whatever the case may be, depending on what generation you're in. I was a pretty good, I was an angel. No, I was a pretty good kid. So I really didn't get into a lot of trouble, but, because my issue was I didn't want to disappoint So I just got upset. I disappointed when I was little, apparently. So anyway, back to the point at hand is really, um, I guess it's twofold with the teaching children, but also focusing, we can all do that. We can focus not just on what we want, um, but if we're focused on helping others get what they want, then that's that can be more gratifying than just getting something that we want because we want it. Think about it. And if you're volunteering, if you're helping somebody who is less fortunate than you, if you're giving somebody something that they're not able at the time to give themselves, if they're struggling with something and you're able to offer advice or feedback or just even an ear to listen to or a shoulder to cry on or anything like that. So if you're feeling like you're stuck or you're feeling down in the dumps, think about how it feels to go out and help somebody else who's feeling, that way, or it lifts you up too, almost more than anything else could, in my opinion. Weigh in on that. I'd like to know. What do you think? Do you think that it's actually more gratifying and brings you more happiness to bring someone else happiness, to help somebody else, to give, and not for the sake of to give, not for the sake of you feeling good, that like the looking good kind of complex of being charitable, but just for the sake that you helped a fellow human being out. So let me know what you think about that. Weigh in if you feel the same way. If you feel differently, I'd like to hear that too. And let's have that be today's action item, is to go out and see how you can support someone else in some way. And, let us know how that makes you feel. Does that bring you some light inside? Does that bring you some joy inside? And does that help get you maybe out of a little funk or a rut or anything? All right. So, like I said, let me know. And if you're struggling with something, or if you're struggling with how to do this, how to take that action item, how to reach out to somebody to offer help. Side note, make sure that the person is okay with your support. And by help, I don't mean doing it for them. I mean, really connecting with the person and something that they need, and don't do it for the sake of just looking good. Don't even advertise it. Don't, just do something to be kind. Like, I'll give you an example. I was at this place, and it was such a long time ago, but it stuck in my head because it was gross. I thought it was gross. This guy was buying a obviously homeless man some food at this place, and he was just making a big to-do production about it, and I was just mortified for this poor, it was awful. I thought, how could you? The guy obviously thought, oh, look, I'm buying this, I'm doing my charitable deed, I'm buying this guy some food. But it was just horrible to watch. It was so gross, I thought. And, buy the guy some food and just shut up about it, if you really want to do a good deed. So, another time I saw somebody in a food place that was obviously homeless, probably even on drugs, and I did go over and just really discreetly, I asked him if he was okay, actually, because he looked like something was wrong. He was waiting by the bathroom, and I didn't know if there was I think it was summertime too, so I didn't know if he was having some kind of heat issue or whatever. And he really didn't speak to me for some reason. Anyway, I asked if he was hungry, kind of nodded, but I was being very discreet. I didn't even want other people to realize. So I went and I bought him some food, and I just asked the server if they would please let him eat it there, the person at the counter. And I just let them take care of it, didn't even make a big fuss about it. So just be classy about it if you're offering help, I guess, is what I'm saying. And, don't be Don't be a gross jerk. that's that's my tactful way of putting it. All right, so go out and find something to do that you can support somebody, even somebody in your own household or a family member or a neighbor, a friend, even just maybe call somebody that is alone and isolated, because sometimes just hearing from somebody that they know can make them feel better, have a better day, and let us know how that goes. And of course, I'm not saying you have to keep it totally private, just in the moment, so share with us what you do, because we'd like to hear. Maybe we can get inspired on different ways that we can support people too. All right, thanks. Have a beautiful, happy day, and I will see you tomorrow.